See, the biggest threat to American democracy is us.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Follow me.
By choosing to remain willfully ignorant, and yes, it's a choice, we pose the biggest threat to American democracy because we make it easier for outside forces to control us. If you are staunchly right or staunchly left, it's easy for outside forces to send whatever they want to whatever website you traffic and tell you what you want to hear or tell you what they want you to hear. Makes it easy to control your minds. And as divided as we are, and we are as divided as we've ever been, probably since the Civil War, divided we fall. And we are in some trouble. So these are the ways that you make it clear that you are the greatest threat to American democracy. You are the greatest threat to American democracy if you choose to keep yourself in a two-dimensional thought process where this group is bad or this group is good. Those right-wingers are mean and want to keep people down and keep people away from the American dream, whereas the lefties are nice and good and want everything that's right for the world. And it doesn't work like that. The world is gray, and it doesn't work. You have to trust your brain enough or love your brain enough to give it the full picture of reality, none of which is black and white. We exist in gray, and there's layers to this, and you have to be willing to do the work to know something. Otherwise, we are doomed to fail. If it's easy for you if you're stuck in two-dimensional thinking to believe stuff that's just unbelievable, or to choose to accept things and then let other things go, right? There's one thing, there's a conspiracy out there about the Clintons, right? They run this pedophile ring, and Bill Clinton hangs out with Jeffrey Epstein, or used to hang out with Jeffrey Epstein. As you well know, he is dear departed, likely at the hands of some groups. But I digress. But the Clintons Hillary ran this pedophile ring out of a pizza parlor somewhere. Okay. But really, a lot of that had to do with Bill Clinton palling around with Jeffrey Epstein on his plane going to his island, which I believe Bill was likely doing his thing. But guess who else was doing his thing? Donald Trump. There is easily verifiable evidence that Donald Trump had a significantly close relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, that he's been on that plane, that he's been to many, many social events together. As a matter of fact, there's more pictures out there of Trump with Epstein than Clinton. I'm not saying who was there more. I'm just saying that they both were doing their thing. But somehow, Donald Trump gets completely absolved of all of that, even though after Ghislaine Maxwell got arrested, he not only praised her, but wished her well without regard for the victims of the child pornography or the child pedophile ring. He just said, hey, I wish her the best, which tells me that there's something in it for him not to say anything bad about her. So both of those guys were involved with Jeffrey Epstein to the highest level, but if you engage in two-dimensional thinking, you will be stuck thinking one or the other is true. You are the biggest threat to American democracy if you find yourself thinking dramatically or diametrically opposed to the way you thought just 6 or 5 years ago. Now, I get that the world has changed and things have happened differently, but the world is not that black and white. Nothing is that black and white to make you think, oh, I used to vote Democrat 100% and watch MSNBC all the time and you know, I love spreading the wealth and yada yada yada, and all of a sudden 6 years later you think the Democrats are evil, the embodiment of the devil on earth, and all you watch is OAN and Fox News and Tucker Carlson and the like, and you hate the Democrats. Well, guess what? You got to realize there's something wrong with that way of thinking. And if that's the case, then you are more susceptible than most of us. Okay? Because that's another example of two-dimensional thinking that makes you operate in a way which you were just so ignorant, it's scary. You are the greatest threat to American democracy if you say you have principles, or used to say you have principles, and then you systematically watch the person or people you support go around and destroy all of those principles on a daily basis or on a regular basis, and you say nothing. If you do that, and if you have done that, then you are the greatest threat to American democracy, because you allow your desires to supersede whatever America wants. And the only reason you're doing that is because somebody's telling you a couple things that you want to hear, when you're allowing the fall of the American democracy happen right before our eyes. You are also the greatest threat to American democracy if you are willing to compromise border security, just because you know the demographics of the nation are changing, and it's going to help your voting bloc in the future to change the demographics and to change things. But unfortunately, safety is the most important thing that we have to protect in American democracy. And if you are willing to give that up just to have a change in demographics, you are a threat to American democracy. You are the greatest threat to American democracy if you have decided to ignore accurate information in favor of alternative facts. Crazy. What is an alternative fact? Guess what? It's a lie. Okay? You are the greatest threat to American democracy if you have decided to allow people to just lie to you, and you know they're lying every day, all day. You are the greatest threat to American democracy if you are engaging in canceling people just because they have a different opinion, regardless of whether their opinion has merit or not. Now, I don't want to use the cancel culture term because it's loaded. And even that has more layers than just black and white. But we have to be able to discuss things in a way that's honest. Okay, there's tons of ugly things out there that we don't agree with. People who think ways we don't agree with. But if you don't discuss it with them, guess what? They'll always think that way. So if you label them bad or good or evil, there's no discussion to be had. We'll stay divided. Guess what? China, Russia, big tech are all the military industrial war machine. They're all looking to control your behavior, and you're just making it easy for them. You are the greatest threat to American democracy if, on January 6th, you sat by and watched a violent, murderous insurrection, and you chose to sit there and make excuses. Now, this insurrection was an effort to stop the most sacred of the things that American democracy is all about, which is certifying the vote. That is the definition of insurrection. That is the definition of sedition. And yes, it was violent. When you have Molotov cocktails live bombs, pistols, semi-automatic weapons, guess what? That's called a violent insurrection. You're constructing nooses on the Capitol steps and planning to kill Nancy Pelosi and the vice president. That's called a violent insurrection and should be punishable as such. Sedition, treason. You can't get any closer to treason than that. So you are the greatest threat to American democracy if that's okay with you. At the same token, you are also the greatest threat to American democracy if you choose to have riots because you have a cause. Unfortunately, most of those riots result in destroying the neighborhoods that you say you care about. So both things can be true, but both of you are the greatest threat to American democracy. You are the greatest threat to American democracy if you do not acknowledge that our divisions are getting larger and we are getting more willfully ignorant. Like I said, willfully means that it's a choice. You have a choice to stay in your rabbit hole, in your echo chamber, and listen to the same things over and over again. Or you can choose to peel back some layers and see what's really going on in this world, and then make some decisions.